Welcome to the fight of your life. Are you willing to die to shine? Nobody is taking us down. We are here for the crown of sound.
We're backstage at Sonic Temple 2023 on the Power Hour for Access TV, and we're here with Noah Sebastian from Bad Omens. Noah,
what's up?
It's been a long road. You know, I think about it, seeing you on the Warped Tour in 2017, because I heard Exit Wounds on the first album. I love that song.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta check these guys out, man. It's so much has happened in the last couple
So
of
much.
years.
So much.
I've got to ask you, so is it, with the success of Just Pretend and how that's transcended, how's that been for the band? Because you see, obviously you've had this incredible fan base, but it's reaching worldwide in this proportion where people are actually, you know, putting out their versions of it. I mean, how does that feel for you to see the song connecting in such a big way?
It's crazy because we really wrote that song a long time ago now. I think it was like early 2019 maybe or something when it originally was demoed. And yeah, we always just felt like it was a great song. And I can't even remember why we didn't make it a single. I think we were like going to do like a later single, which ended up happening with that. But I don't know. I think it's a really great gateway song to like not just our band, but like rock music and heavy music in general, because we also have so much heavy music as well in addition to that. And then we tour with so many heavy bands and are like in the same, you know, fishbowl of heavy metalcore bands and stuff, that Just Pretend feels like just one of those songs that's kind of like introducing new fans to rock and new faces and new demographics to rock, which is really, that to me is what I'm proud of, you know.
That's cool.
It's incredible. I can't think of a band that's had a greater trajectory in the past year. I mean, when we started our show, I remember you were one of our first guests. You played our Twitch party, and then you were I think at the time on tour within this moment and Dead, and it's just been a nonstop. What's it like for you guys? I think I saw you guys literally on maybe the global top 50 list, and it's like Bad Bunny and Adele, and like rock bands aren't even allowed in that on that list.
Yeah.
Like, what's it like to see yourself in that sort of amongst those global names?
It's exciting because that's kind of always been. I don't want to say the goal to like be on those lists, but as far as like breaking rock music and like the world of rock that we come from back into that like mainstream light, so to speak, because I feel like it's kind of taken the back seat for the past decade or two, like back when like Linkin Park and Korn and stuff were like they were on top of the music charts, and now it's kind of like hip hop and rock, rap and pop are leading the way, and I'm heavily influenced by those genres too. So I think like for me, like a mission of our band is to influence the music in a way that like everyone can really enjoy it. People that only listen to like more mainstream music currently, like rap music and pop music, and then people that only listen to rock music and metal music can maybe get more into other genres that they would normally be like kind of elitist on, so to speak.
And we talk about gateways, and you mentioned that. So what was the gateway for you? What was the thing? What were you listening to? What was a young Noah Sebastian into when you were a kid that made you say, yeah, I want to write, I want to do songs, I want to sing? What were those things, Noah?
That's probably how we got here, because it was, I know with heavy music it started with Disturbed. Like the first time I heard heavy metal was Down with the Sickness, and I thought it was like the most twisted, messed up thing I've ever heard, and I loved it. And then I got into like my rap phase, and I got into Eminem and 50 Cent and stuff, and I even had like a small EDM phase as a teenager. And so I just really kind of grew up like absorbing all my favorite parts of these different genres and these different like worlds of music. And when I got to the point I was writing my own music, I was always trying to find new ways to blend them all together tastefully, because a lot of bands have always tried to mix pop with metal or electronic music with metal, and sometimes it comes out cheesy or forced. And like with us, we always try to like make it feel tasteful and like kind of natural and easy to digest. And I feel like with The Debts of Peace of Mind, we finally did that in a way that people like understand what we're going for.
That's so great. Now, recently, I follow you on social media, and you've been very staunch advocate about venues not charging for merch. And as someone like myself who played in a band for years, who's put on events, I've never understood that rule, right? So, and I don't know. I want to thank you for sort of addressing that and being a beacon for that, because I think everyone on the planet who's ever played in a band has always asked that question, thought that question, but never asked it out loud. And I feel like your voice has inspired even other artists I'm seeing now to come forward and sort of bring up that same thing. Like, have you taken that stance helped, do you think? Or do you think there's going to be more awareness or a change, hopefully, in the future?
I'm not sure if it's helped because it's always been like a thing people have complained about. But I feel like I noticed that it was only smaller bands complaining about it, us included, when we were a smaller band, like touring in a van. And I think it's more so my issue with it is bands that need help, that are starting out, that are already struggling to make money at all, let alone like a profit after tour, being held to the same standards that like a headliner is held. It's the same percentage, the same merch rates, the same merch terms. That to me feels pretty unfair when you know you're going to be on a tour where the one of four is doing, if they're lucky, $1,000 in merch a night, and the headliner is doing, God knows what.
Right.
But then they're held to the same percentage that's owed to the venue when they like their guarantees probably less than they made in merch, and they're just trying to get gas to the next show. So it's more so something I feel like now that we're a bigger band that gets so much more traffic on the internet and like social engagement and stuff, and there's always conversation about us, that like using that newfound platform to talk about it for fans that don't know, because again, historically it's only been smaller bands that have talked about it. So I feel like bigger bands, you get big and then you're like afraid of like pissing someone off, like, I don't want to lose this, I don't want a venue to not book us again. But now it's like, I think the music speaks for itself, the ticket sales speak for themselves, the streams speak for themselves, and I'm not really afraid to like tell people that that's a thing, because if it is a thing, why are we hiding it? You know what I mean? If it's so normal and it's so like ethical, why is it some big secret? Why can't we talk about it? So I don't know. I think I more so just want smaller, newer bands to not have to deal with those like financial struggles as much, because it's so uncomfortable.
Well, it's hard enough,
touring.
right?
It's so uncomfortable touring
Yeah.
for so long,
and the price of gas and everything else. I mean, just traveling and being, there are so many factors now that things are so expensive. So if you're a new band starting out and touring, I mean, it just things that make it harder. I mean, they need to be addressed, and it's great that you're standing up for people.
Yeah, I don't know what we can do to help, but I know, I just think everyone should know, and like I think it helps too in a small way, like maybe smaller bands do merch drops and people are more inclined to buy online, or and there's variables too. Like there's been tons of times venues let us off the hook where they like don't make us pay merch rate if we're like a smaller band on the tour, and I'm not saying like every venue's bad or anything like that, but there definitely needs to be more of a conversation, I guess, about it going into it that's not just fixed and like so black and white when it comes to every day. This is what you pay, this is what you owe, especially if some bands don't even sell merch in a day.
I just have to think so many fellow artists were like, yes, like that was my inside voice. I've been thinking for a long time, so kudos to you for addressing it, and hopefully it'll spark more change, and more fairer terms for everybody.
I agree 100%. And since we're at a festival right now, the Great Sonic Temple, I got to talk to you about your festival experiences. Of course, I saw you when you were very young. Well, you're still very young, but you know what I mean? Like when right after, your first album came out. But talk to me about your first festival experience. Do you remember the first one that you went to? And do you have a favorite that you've been to or been a part of?
That's tough. I feel like we've played so many. One that I remember specifically that I always quote, me and our photographer Brian, who's been touring with us since day one, we played, I can't remember the name, but it was in Jersey, Rock Allegiance, I think it was 2018, and Limp Bizkit was playing, and we always somehow
over the water.
It was like by the
what's the not Camden. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I can't remember, but somehow every festival we play, and there's multiple days, we always end on the day with Limp Bizkit, which we love because we love Limp Bizkit. So we were watching.
That's
Limp
when
Bizkit.
Insane Clown Posse attacked them on stage.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what made me remember that fest every time. And I remember, he tried to kick him off stage, and then everyone came and dragged him out, and then Limp Bizkit just went nuts and had like everyone climb on stage from the audience, and me and Brian and a few of our other friends from the fest, we all just got on stage and we're just like rocking with Limp Bizkit on stage, and it was they were like crowd surfers on stage. It was a wild time, and it just felt like a party. It was so Limp Bizkit. Like
I remember calling Danny Wimmer going, I love that you set up that wrestling match between Insane Clown Posse and Limp Bizkit. He goes, what do you mean set that up? I'm like, that wasn't, that was real? He goes, because he drop kicked him. It was like he hit him with a wrestling move.
Yeah.
And he goes, you thought that was planned? I'm like, I would have planned that. That's a brilliant marketing strategy to have one
some,
band
like,
drop kick
publicity
another band on
stunt.
stage.
It's amazing. You know, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm the voice on the end of Significant Other. You know, the hidden track where it goes, hey, it's a bald man. I'm here to tell you.
I did not know that.
That's me
I
on
know what
that
you're
record.
talking about. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I did that. Fred had me do that in studio.
awesome.
Which was really cool.
That's
where I go
legendary.
off on a deep end and I throw some stuff around the studio. It was a lot of fun.
Dude, I love the skits and stuff they do. They're so fun.
Yeah, it was a blast to do
such a
that.
fun
You know,
band.
we really appreciate, taking the time. It's so great to see how the Death of Peace of Mind is just really taken hold and built. Your fan base just keeps growing. And as you reiterated before, it's opening the door to more people that are listening to all different types of music into the rock world, which I think is great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this has been Josh Bernstein here with my buddy Matt Pinfield, the incredible Noah Sebastian of Bad Omens, playing today at Sonic Temple. We're so excited, and you can check us all out all the time on Access TV on the Power Hour.